Welcome to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show on 94.7 The Pulse. Music, interviews, news, and, well, Two Blokes Chatting. Now, here are the two blokes.
President of the Corio Football Club and a man who is right at the heart of driving the Northern Stars junior football team in, obviously, the northern suburbs of Geelong. Greg Ince, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Great to have you aboard.
It's the second time we've been accused of being gentlemen this morning. It's disturbing.
It is disturbing. This is a great initiative. It's funny how regions of Geelong, the population changes. Your as a good example, Neil, is your suburb of Geelong West was once an ageing suburb.
And still is now that I'm there.
And a lot of football clubs in that region struggle to find juniors. And then with the revamp of the old Geelong West streets, real estate come in there, lots of young families now. There's lots and lots of kids around that neck of the woods. But what's happened now is the problem in the northern suburbs. It is now becoming an ageing area, not as many kids available. The North Shore Footy Club once had their own little league. That's how many kids there were out there. But times have changed. It puts pressure on clubs. And Greg, you've been on the front foot with the North Shore Footy Club to get the Northern Stars up and about.
Yes, we have, Rob. We, myself, Darren Bennett, Linda Bennett, Craig Benson, from our side, we actually set up meetings with the North Shore Footy Club with Dale, Crystal and Shane. We're all sort of pinching players from each club. We're ringing up North Shore people. I come across and make numbers up on our side, and then you've got Gold Hill, Little River, all these clubs doing the same thing, and all we're doing is pinching players off each club, and so each club can't sort of fill the side. So we sat down, decided to have a meeting with North Shore, and they've been very good about it. Set up something like the Northern Stars, and combine the clubs and invite other clubs in the northern suburbs area to become part of the northern suburbs, which or Northern Stars, as we shall call them. And today's our first day of it. We've got an under 11 side playing out of Lara, and then we've got two under 13 sides playing tomorrow. So the signs are good, mate. But with so many clubs in such a small area, is what we've got. From Bellpost Hill, Bell Park, North Geelong, right through to Lara, the river. We've just got probably too many clubs. The area's ageing, as you're saying. So this was our best way of doing something. We sort of said, no one plays for a club. They just all play for the Northern Stars. They can register at their own clubs, whether it be North Shore, North Geelong or Corio or Little River, and they will play under the Northern Stars banner, and then they can go back to their own clubs eventually. They just sign on at their old clubs originally, and then we just get them the game of football rather than them all sit at home playing on computers and in the bedrooms, and we're just about trying to get them out to the ovals to have a kick around again.
I think it's a really important distinction, though, isn't it, Greg, that this is not a merger of clubs. This is a joint venture to enable kids to play footy. So this is not spelling the end for any of those clubs concerned. It's all about providing a pathway and a funnel, I guess, to senior footy for these kids.
Oh, correct. No, it's never going to be a merger. I think the outcome of all this is that we're going to have two very, very strong clubs, because the juniors will all the way through to under 18s, as it will be known in a few years' time. And then we can feed them back to their clubs. We've got no interest in pinching players of other clubs. North Shore players come in and play it. I believe Anarchy Football Club and Little River Football Club, some of their players now want to join in as well. And by all means, we're happy enough to have them. And when they want to leave and go back to their own clubs, they go back to their own clubs. There'll be no holds, no nothing at all. And we've spoken to a few people about it, AFL Barwon, GFL, they're all willing to back us with this idea. So, as I say, there's no merger, and you can go back to your own club at any time.
Yeah, because I think you'll end up with a situation in a lot of clubs. I had a bit to do with junior footy up in Melbourne, and you'd find that some kids would miss out each week because there were 25 kids in the squad or whatever it happens to be, but everyone felt okay about that because it was your turn to miss out. When you miss out because you turn up one week and there's only 12 kids, that's demoralising, isn't it?
It is. And what happens, and that's why when we first set this up, we sort of had a look at the sides, and we were starting to get a little bit nervous because we thought, we're probably only going to have an under 11, and we'll struggle to get the numbers for that, and an under 13, and we'll struggle to get the numbers for that. But all of a sudden, we've had a massive influx over the last week or so of players from Manatee, Little River, I've been talking to Jace from down at North Geelong. I believe he's interested in sending kids out there as well. So we've now gone from Auskick to we've also set up an under-10 side, an under-11 side, 2 under-13 sides. And look, if people keep coming, and we hope they do, we'll apply to put in another side again as well, because we want all these people to have a kick. We don't want them to be sitting at home, get discouraged and say, I'm not going back again. So we're desperately trying to make sure they all get a kick and a game.
And you'd be fairly comfortable with all the clubs on the same page because they're doing it for their own longevity, that there wouldn't be any issues with poaching of players, that if you just had them registered, go into the system, then you're helping your club's future at the same time without needing to cross paths and upset anyone?
Oh, for sure. And this is why probably the first thing we say to people is register at your own club. Doesn't matter whether it be Anarchy, North, Corio, North Shore. We're happy enough to put behind us that we play for those particular clubs, and that the kids will be playing for something that's independent completely. It will be known as Northern Stars, so it won't be known as Corio or North Shore. It will be known as the Northern Stars. And I think that the time has come for people to say, well, hang on, we're happy enough for them to play under Northern Stars. We don't care who it is or what club, as long as they play under Northern Stars, and they can go back to their own clubs. There'll be no poaching whatsoever. So if a kid's signed on it with us, and he rings up and he says, in 2 years' time I want to play seniors, well, by all means, he can come back to Corio and he play seniors.
We had a session this morning on women's sport. Is netball not such an issue with those clubs? I know your own club seems to have a reasonable coverage of netball girls, but either netball or women's footy, girls' footy, has that popped up as a possibility for the Stars as well?
Yeah, for sure. Look, not really. We haven't actually sat down and talked about it, but I do know that some of the clubs are struggling for netball players. I believe North Shore are. I think Anarchy are just building size, just getting through. We ourselves have got probably every grade covered bar, I think it's under 17 women's, which that's due to the hard work by picking the women there. They go down to some of these comps and tournaments and that, and just have a look around and say to players, are you interested in coming out and having a game at Corio? And they are. If they want to sit down and have a chat about combining it, we're more than happy to sit down. Myself, Darren Bennett, who's driving us very hard, Linda, who's driving us very hard, Dale and Crystal and that from North Shore as well. We're more than happy to sit down and have a chat about it. But at this stage here, it is only the football side. Women's football, we'd love to get a women's football side up. The good part about with the juniors that we have at present, I believe there's quite a few young ladies that are actually playing football at present. So hopefully in the next, whether it takes a year or two, we may be able to field a female women football side as well.
And I think that the issue with netball's a little easier because rather than need 22 players every week, you need 7 or 8, and it always makes it a bit easier to field, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just that the very young age, it's possibly to get girls interested in the game, whereas perhaps they wouldn't, and then they can feed into the clubs at a later point. Because you just need to, it's the old build it and they will come, Greg. You touched on it before that there's probably a reasonable number of young people in the northern suburbs, but they don't have a connection to a club. So if you provide a facility for them, then you may actually get them off the Xbox and out doing something leisurely and constructive.
Oh, I think you've hit it on the head, mate. We had a coordinator, Tracy, who was rang around earlier in the year to some of the players to see if they're interested in playing this year. And the most common answer that she got from people was, my son said he's not interested, he'd rather sit in the bedroom and play on his Xbox. And I just, we're trying to cancel that out. We're trying to make people come down to the track, do a bit of running around. It's only an hour's training, and a couple of hours when they play on a Saturday, Sunday or Friday night, whatever it may be. But it's about getting these kids active again, mate, because if they don't get active, I suppose there's going to be a lot of problems down the track as well.
Yeah, there is. Have you made good connection with the schools too, Greg, to help get the information stream out?
Yes, we have, mate. We've did a bit of a school run, which has helped us getting some players. Now, we plan to actually do another one again in the very near future with North Shore and that, to try and get some more kids involved. And as I say, if we can get more kids involved, we're only doing grading games at present, so if another 50 kids show up at Corio next week and say we want to play football, we're more than happy to try and get some more teams together and enter them in the local comp. Just as an interesting point, with the training side of it, what we were doing at this stage is we'll have 4 weeks at Corio Sporting Club, which is from 4:30 till 5:30 every Tuesday and Thursday night. And then after that, it's 4 weeks at North Shore Football Club, and time frame, and then back to us again for the 4 weeks. So rather than rotate weekly and make kids travel from different places each week, we've decided to make it 4-week blocks and make it easier for the kids. But we've seen it. There's a lot of new faces coming up to the tracks now. So if there's anybody interested, by all means, show up on Tuesday night at 4:30.
And this week it is at Corio.
This week it is at Corio, mate.
Yeah. I guess the other thing that sits in the back of my mind, I'm not across it as much as you two are, but I assume that there's been talks held with the appropriate people that say, well, if you play for the Northern Stars registered at Corio, then when it comes to point system down the track, these guys are going to be recognised as Corio players versus, North Shore players when it comes to point calculations and stuff?
Yeah. Look, we've spoke to people about it, and I think that it's probably we've only touched on it at this stage here because at present we're only going up to under 13, so it's probably going to be another 3 or 4 years before some of these kids become eligible for seniors. But I think if they play a certain amount of games in juniors, they automatically become a one-pointer for their club anyway.
Yeah. Greg, just on another quick side, we've spoken a lot about the situation your club's in at the moment, struggling on the football field, some good things happening on the netball side, but last Sunday you hosted the Indigenous game. It was a fantastic opportunity for your club to display what's going on. I'd had the privilege of being there on the Thursday night prior. You've looked at the old Corio Football Club, made some pretty strong decisions on making it a better place to be. And regardless of whether you're winning games or not, you must be very proud that you collectively are all pulling in the right direction and making those significant changes to make your football club a place where someone would want to come and play.
Oh, look, very much so, mate. I think it's with the whole idea of changing the place out there and how people react to other people and things like that. It's something that's been driven by the club. It's been very hard driven by our senior coach, Darren Bennett, and Joel Bennett. They're our twin coaches out there. And it does do you proud when we've had some reports back from people that were at the game and they appreciated the game and they were nothing but praise for us as a club and said how much the culture is a lot better out there than what it used to be, say, even 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it may be. So we do try hard to make sure that we can present the club in a good light to people. And I think by having that last Sunday, the Indigenous game, it was a chance for people to showcase Corio and say, look, this is what we can do. Corio of old, you probably wouldn't have shown up. The Corio of you will show up at these things, and you will come down and watch a few of our home games. And that's what it's about. If we can get people, local supporters, back into the clubs again, it works twofold. We make money, and when the canteens make money, everybody makes money. And it's a shame that we have to mention money, but the heart and soul behind most clubs nowadays does require money.
Yeah. Yeah, no, good luck. You're doing all the right things, and I think that the 4 points for wins will naturally come as time goes by. So well done to you, and congratulations to all your hard-working staff around you, and hopefully it continues to grow. Yeah, well, thanks very, very much, Rob. We've got Bellpost Hill at home today, so if anybody would like to come down and have a look at the boys, see how they're going to go. I don't think we're far away from a win, so hopefully we'll see when that may be. Maybe not this week, maybe in a couple of weeks' time, but eventually we will get one. Righto, mate. All the very best. Thanks so much, Rob.